up?
Recording has been started.
Can you all see the deck?
Yes.
Yes, awesome. All right, so I will get us started, and apologies for not being on video. My internet is being a little tricky today, so just holler if you can't hear me and someone on the team will take over. But right now, wanted to welcome everyone to this training for data entry. As you just heard, we're going to record this session for future use. I'm Stacy Rosenzweig. I'm with A&M and here with some of my colleagues. On video, we have Jasmine, Timberly, and Samira. We also have some other folks on the line who have expertise in some of this area, in some of these areas that we're discussing, who may jump in from time to time. So next, we'll review the agenda. Is it just paused on my end?
Yeah,
The
agenda is showing.
Okay, great. So first we're gonna do a quick introduction, contextualization, talk about data entry best practices, go through the data entry portal to create an account, talk about how to scan an application, how to attach a scan to an application, how to start a new application in AppStream, and then walk through some unique features of AppStream with their notifications and just some intricacies that we want to make you all aware of. And then we'll share available resources and go through any questions you have. But feel free to ask questions as we go along as well. So for introduction and contextualization, we're going to talk about high-level training goals. So why are we here? This training is for folks just like you who are going to conduct the data entry of paper applications. So whether they are received by mail or in person at the regional offices. The goal of this training is accurate data entry, which is key to the success of timely review of applications and equitable disbursement of funds. We anticipate many applications will be submitted in hard copy and some have already been submitted. So attention to detail and accurate data entry is really essential. So objectives to come away from this training is to ensure consistent, efficient, and accurate input of data from applications into the system for review, as well as explain the process of data entry into the e-filing system. So next, we're going to talk about who the key teams are involved. So if you've conducted some other trainings that we have, or some of these teams have about onboarding, you may have seen a version of this slide before. But for data entry, we wanted to focus on the key teams involved, which are you and your staff that you'll train, the data entry staff, who are the real conduits between the information collected on the hard copy applications and the electronic system. Data entry will occur at the regional offices, and the data entry staff should scan the hard copy applications and input the information into the online system as soon as they are received. We highly suggest and please would like to emphasize trying to avoid a backlog of physical documents that have not been scanned and input into the e-filing system. So we're just suggesting a very quick but efficient, detailed input into the system so we don't have a backlog for multiple reasons. Program timeline. So this data entry will occur between now and the end of the application period, which is now on October 31st, which is indicated in the gold box below. So once we all get everyone trained on data entry, the data entry will start almost immediately as soon as you get access to the online system. And then on the slide, just a reminder of the physical office locations. Data entry is going to occur at all offices across the country. Offices are represented in these blue and purple dots. So just reemphasizing that you're not alone. There's folks all over doing the same data entry who can be helpful resources if you all have questions, and just wanted to share that high level graphic for you. So next, I will turn it to Samira to talk about some data entry best practices.
Thanks, Stacy. And then for our first data entry best practice component is accuracy and quality assurance. As you enter in applicant responses, we want you to make sure to record data as it's written. We want you to use title case for shorter phrases and standard capitalization for longer text, which means in titles and headlines are capitalized except for minor words. If there are answers in Spanish, there will be a translator who will be responsible for getting answers into English. And for other languages, support will be done over the phone, and there will be an online translation support service. We want to make sure that you reach out to colleagues and supervisors if you are unsure about how to input something, because accuracy impacts an applicant's eligibility to funds. Best practices for the portal itself are to make sure to renew your lease or end your lease with the application you are working on, as the portal will not allow multiple people to work on an application. Also, you can't move to the next step unless you complete the current step. Make sure to click Save Often. And for steps with subsections, the portal will ask if the section has been left blank. Make sure to click No to fill out these sections, because if you select Yes, then the entire subsection will be removed.
Samir,
Next, we'll go on.
Samir, can I add on before you move on to this? I mean, I think the important thing with data entry is that there's no interpretation. So it should be, just to reemphasize that first bullet of recording information as it is written, because we want it as close to what the applicant has submitted, or as accurately as what the applicant has submitted. So we have a data entry guide also as a resource that we'll touch on later. But we don't want the data entry staff guessing or interpreting, and that's a key best practice as we think about this. For obvious reasons, it could impact eligibility, just like Samir had said. And so when in doubt, I think that's where you get others involved. So reach out to, we want to advise staff to talk to their supervisors if they have questions, also to consult all the resources like the data entry guide, which should provide 80 to 90% of the answer for them, because there's scenarios where it says, hey, if you see X, Y, and Z, here's some considerations, and those things should help the data entry staff make the right decisions. But it should be should be just entering what you see. There shouldn't be any interpretation. So I just want to reiterate that that's like a key component of success for data entry. So thanks.
Thanks, Matt. And then we have our confidentiality guidelines, and those are to not share your login or password information where someone can see it. Don't leave your computer unattended. Don't share any names of applicants outside of the team, or put any personal information in writing, electronically, or physically. We don't want you to print or email any applicant information or access applications that haven't been assigned to you, and to not take any photos of or screenshots of anything inside of an application to mean the privacy of an applicant. And we will now move on to the data entry portal and how to create an account.
Thanks, Samira. Hi, everyone. I'll be taking us through step-by-step instructions on how to create an AppStream account, which is what you'll use to access the data entry portal. So the very first step in creating an AppStream account is verifying your email. When you're first added to the system, you'll get an email that looks like the screenshot we provided to the left, saying, welcome to your discrimination financial assistance program. And in that email, there's going to be a hyperlink where you can click confirm my DFAP account. And the next step, thank you. The next step is you'll click that link and you're going to be directed to a browser window, which will confirm that your email address was successfully verified. Once you've received this, you can close the browser window. After that, you'll be able to access the AppStream platform through this link. So we'll share these materials and you can make sure that you'll be able to reference this link whenever you need. This link will navigate you to the account login page, and you'll enter your email address and click continue for the next step. From there, you'll be directed to a sign-in page, and you'll click Forgot Password, as you have not created a password yet for your new account. Once you click on Forgot Your Password, it'll take you to a Forgot Your Password page in which you'll enter your email address and you'll click Continue. Once you click continue, you'll be directed to the screen that says check your email. So make sure to check your inbox for an email regarding resetting your password for your DFAP account. And if you don't receive an email, please select resend email. Otherwise, we can move on to the next step. So once you receive that email, it'll look like the screenshot we provided here. It'll say reset your DFAP password, and you'll be able to click confirm to toggle to the page where you can do so. Once you clicked on that link, you'll be able to change your password. It'll navigate you to a change your password page. And it's important to note that when you're creating your new password, it must contain at least 8 characters and at least 3 of the following: lowercase letters, uppercase letters, numbers, and or any of the special characters that we provided to you as examples here. You'll re-enter that password once you've created it, and you'll click reset password to finalize it. Once you've reset your password, it'll pop this up and say password has been changed successfully, and you'll be able to move back to the next step, which is to follow the AppStream link that we provided previously. Now that you've created your password, it'll take you back to that sign-in page where you'll enter your email address, click continue, and enter your newly created password to sign in. And you'll have to only do this once where you set up two-step verification, but you will have to go through two-step verification each time you log in. The purpose of this is to add an extra layer of security to help keep all of this information safe. And in this case, you're able to opt to use an authenticator application or receive your 6-digit code via text message. If you choose to use an authenticator application, you'll open your authenticator app and scan this QR code that will pop up once you select the authenticator application option for the two-step verification. This authenticator will give you a 6-digit code upon scanning the QR code, and you'll enter that code and click continue. After doing that, or another option that you can go through for two-step verification is entering your phone number. Once you enter your phone number, you'll receive a 6-digit code, and you'll click continue after you enter it into the sign-in. Now, after you've gone through either of those steps for two-step verification, you'll be able to access the AppStream platform that will open in your browser. And once it opens, you'll see there's a Firefox icon, and you'll click that to continue. So after doing all of that, you'll be able to officially log into your account. You'll follow the same steps that we mentioned previously. So you'll enter your email address, you'll click sign in with your password, and you'll be able to access the next step. Then you'll verify your identity each time, like I mentioned. So either with a authenticator app or through text message, you'll receive the 6-digit code. You'll enter that code and you'll click continue. Something we wanted to note is that this process might be subject to change based on go live of our AppStream portal, but if they do change, these instructions will be updated accordingly. And with that, I'll pass it over to Stacy for scanning.
I just wanted to pause there and see if anyone had any questions. I know that was a lot that we just went through. All right, hearing none, we will continue. And again, we will provide these slides for your reference afterwards. So, scanning an application. Of course, scanning an application begins with having a scanner and a scanner that is set up and connecting to the different portals. So we do have separate instructions for setting up a scanner and CC scan, and CC scan routes to the AppStream portal that Jasmine just referenced. So setting up scanners should be done by office managers, which should be done now or in the very near future. So if you have questions about physical scanners and their setup, please contact these folks below. We will continue with scanning and uploading documents. So once the scanner is set up, you will follow these steps to actually scan your hard copy documents that you've received in the office, either by mail or in person. So you will need to, when applications and supporting documents come in, they get a barcode put on them. And you will need to scan these barcoded documents into the system and attach the documents to the related application that you're keying in. So each scanner will be set up to have its own folder in the system, and scanner names are based on the office location for easy access. So for example, if you're working in Bethesda, your scanner name will be something like Bethesda Back Office. So it should be extremely clear what scanner you scan your documents to. Once a document is scanned, it will be automatically filed into the folder connected with the corresponding scanner. And files are automatically named based on the barcode attached. So as we move on to the next slide, we have some images of how this works. So step number 1 is you open CC Scan from your PC. So CC Scan, as you can see here, has this icon that's white with some gray boxes inside. This should be a shortcut on your desktop. So you double click this, and in the top left, when this opens, you make sure to select the option Scan plus Barcode to Amazon S3, as noted in the red box here. Next, step 3 is you ensure that the document folder reflects your physical office location, as we said before, using the example of Bethesda Back Office. Then you place your documents in the scanner, and you click the Start Scan button at the bottom of the screen, noted here in the red box. Step 6 is you want to confirm that the document was successfully scanned by checking the page count and reviewing the image. So just doing a quick check, kind of a gut check to make sure, okay, I scanned 5 pages, there are 5 pages, that are coming through. Are there any questions on these steps? Or Matt, anything you wanted to add, because I know you've set up this before?
Yeah, no, it should be easy. I think the main thing is to make sure that the person responsible at your office who set up the scanner has the scanner's CC Scan configured appropriately. And it's really important that that person understands how to set up the job for scanning, because once it's set up, the PC that is attached to the scanner, that's the one place that you'll that you'll access CC Scan. So I don't know if all the desktops will have it. I think the plan was that you have at least one dedicated PC that's attached to the scanner, and for configuration. So every time you have a scan that needs to happen, you go to that PC that's attached to the scanner. But once you've got it installed, it should be very straightforward. Put the documents on the scanner and hit Start Scan, and then you can see and confirm the document. So that's all. The only other comments I'd have, just Stacy.
Thanks, Matt. And then we have a few more steps of attaching scans to an application once you successfully have scanned your documents in. So separately, you will need to virtually connect the electronic application that you're filling out to the barcode and the scanned documents. Electronically, where this connection is done automatically, the data entry folks here, your job is to add the barcode information into the application to connect it with the scanned document. So what we have here is the barcode is kind of created and coded with couple different things. Barcode is created by 4 things, as we see here: region, state, location, and physical document number. So on the first page of the application portal, which we'll show you in a couple minutes, you'll be asked to put in these numbers, the barcode numbers. So we tried to kind of show the equivalence here. So the 4 sections of the barcode are indicated here, and then there is going to be 4 boxes in the application on the first page that you enter. That should be pretty straightforward, of 2-digit region, 2-letter state, 4 letter, number, location code, and then what is that, 6-letter or number physical document number. So you'll key this in, and then the barcode will be automatically matched to this application that you're entering. Next slide is, so again, on the first page of the application portal, which we'll go through in a moment, you will be asked to attach the documents that you have just uploaded. So on the bottom of that first screen, you're going to see a box that says select files, and then you're going to follow this path to attach your documents. You're going to click select files, then file system, and then scanned documents. And then you're going to see your unique scanner name. Again, Bethesda back office is an example. And then under Bethesda back office, all the files will be here that have been scanned in through that scanner. And then you're going to select the file with the barcode name associated with the application for which you're doing data entry. And like I said before, the name of the file will be the name of the barcode, and that is automatically done. So it should be pretty simple to connect the barcode. Files are attached. Any questions on this part?
Stacy, I don't know if this happened for anyone else, but I think you cut off a little bit at the end there.
Oh.
I heard you say barcode, and then there was a blank, and then you said a file attached or something like that.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Thanks, Kimberly. I was just saying once you're in the folder with the scanner name and the scanner name, which will be the same as your back office name, all the files will be in there, and the files will be named based on the barcode on the document. So it should be pretty easy to connect the barcode name and the file name because they'll be the same, and you just double click on that, and then the files will be attached to your online application.
Yeah, one thing to add, Stacy, and for those who are going to be training and doing this, it's critically important that you match the barcode of your hard copy with the name of the file. So these file names are going to be electronically generated by CC scan by reading the barcode. So it's going to ensure that the file name that you've got, it matches the document, because, you know, as we get into critical mass and we're going to be doing a lot of data entry, there's going to be more files in these folders. So that's, you know, as one of those best practices that Samira had highlighted, is double, triple check the barcode, document number, and the scan that you have in your and the physical document that you have in your hand, that you are for sure attaching that particular document to the actual application that you're entering in the system. So for your staff and for yourselves, let's just like the no interpretation, this step in particular is going to be really important, because once these documents are attached to an application, that it will be seen by the applicant. So if you've attached the wrong documents, there's a lot of personally identified information that we don't want to expose to the wrong people. So
Thanks, Matt. I wanted to leave space for any questions after that clarification. All right, I'll pass it to Kimberly.
Thank you, Stacy. So as Stacy said, I'm going to give you a little bit of context to that. I'm going to walk you through how to start a new application and what it looks like when you do start. So when you first log in after you've created your account, this is the first page that you'll see, and you're going to select paper because in this instance, we're entering information from paper applications into the system. So after you select paper, you'll see the next screen. And on this next screen is your application dashboard. where you'll see a list of the applications that have been entered into the system. And to start a new application, you simply select new application at the bottom of the screen. And after you select that, you'll see on the next slide, you'll be brought to this page where you'll actually begin the data entry. You see at the top there is where you'll enter the barcode information that Stacy mentioned. And on the left-hand side, you'll see a navigation pane showing you all the steps of the application. And on the next slide, we'll see a bit of a better view of that. Here you see all the steps. And just to walk you through a little bit of the statuses here. So the step that you're currently on will be highlighted in blue. And once you've completed a step correctly, everything's in there, you'll see the green complete status. If you started a section but haven't completed it, you'll see the orange incomplete status. And if there are any errors, which Jasmine will talk about a little bit later, you'll see the error status and that text will be in red. It's very important to note that as you're going through the application, you will not be able to move on to the next step if the step that you're currently on isn't complete, if the status isn't complete. So with that, I will allow Jasmine to walk you through some of the error notifications.
Thanks, Kimberly. Yeah, we're going to walk through some of the different pop-ups that someone will see as they're entering data, if data is incorrect or missing. So we can move on to the next slide. So one of the first error notifications we wanted to highlight is a pop-up. So when you're inputting data, the portal will provide notifications in response to those inputs if they're incorrect. So if a criteria hasn't been met for a specific field, a red box will pop up. So in this example, we see 3 out of the 4 boxes for the regional application ID barcode have red pop-ups. And sometimes they'll offer some information as to how you can rectify this issue. Sometimes they'll simply say missing or incorrect value. So if we look at the example of the last box that says 9292, it'll say that you need to enter 6 numeric characters only, and I've only entered 4. So for me to rectify that, I would need to add an additional 2 digits to make the red box go away. Another error notification that can pop up is if you leave a required answer blank. So required answers are indicated with a red asterisk, and a red pop-up will appear if you don't indicate an answer for it. So it'll say missing or incorrect value, and now track as an error and mark it as incomplete until you select an answer for a required question. Another error notification that can occur is if you put in an incorrect value instead. So we chose to use this example. This is a question directly from the application. How many total co-borrowers, not including yourself, are there? So in this case, I put in 2 and spelled out 2, TWO, and an error notification pops up saying it's a missing or incorrect value. And although this isn't as specific as the instructions we saw in the first example, in this case, you would troubleshoot and maybe think of another way of writing 2. And in this case, if you use the numeral version of it, the red box goes away. So with all these error notifications that can occur in the AppStream portal, it's really crucial for you to rectify all the issues because, as Timberly mentioned, you can't navigate forward or backwards in the application until you complete the step that you're currently on. So if it's incomplete, like it is in step 4, you won't be able to move on to step 5. And similarly, if you have any errors in step 4, the portal won't allow you to move on either. And like I mentioned, you can't move backwards to steps 1 through 3 that have already been completed. So until you complete this section, you're pretty much stuck there until you rectify all the issues or complete all the questions that are required. So with all these error notifications, it's important to note that at the very bottom, there's a function in the portal that allows you to track all of the different errors and incompletes that are occurring in the step that you're currently on. So I chose to use this example that you see in the screenshot on the left, where there are multiple steps that are complete, and you'll notice that step 2 has an error. So like we mentioned, you can't move forward until you rectify errors. But in this case, the data entry clerk would have gone to step 5, completed it, and decided to go back to step 2. While they were in step 2, they committed some errors, and in this case, they're stuck on step 2, even though it had been previously marked as complete. They won't be able to navigate forward, and they won't be able to navigate back to step 1 if they chose to do so. So this tracker at the very bottom of the form is really helpful for you to identify where there are issues. And if you do see that, you need to identify or go to directly the error that's popping up, you can simply select one of the examples or one of the errors that will pop up for you at the bottom. So in the second screenshot on the bottom, if I selected, please upload at least one file, if I clicked that, it would take me directly to the question where I need to upload that file. So this is a really, really useful and important tool for someone to use as they're going through and trying to rectify any errors they have. Another function of the data entry portal is relinquishing and renewing a lease. So when you're in an application, you own the lease on that application for 10 minutes. So during this time, no one else can enter or edit that application. This is really important for the purposes of version control, making sure that people aren't going in at the same time and editing as you're in it. And this is the safeguard that they've built into place to prevent that from happening. So let's say another clerk needs to enter that application. You'll need to click relinquish lease, which allows them to access the application. If you choose to continue working on this application, you'll click renew lease before the timer runs to 0. If the timer is approaching 0 pretty quickly, you'll see a pop-up like the screenshot in the bottom that says your lease is about to expire. Would you like to renew it now? In which you'll select yes or no. Another function that has been built into the application portal is an auto renewal function. So when you're active in the form, such as moving forward to the next step or clicking save to save your progress, this lease will automatically renew for you. So if you fail to renew the lease, though, in a timely manner, so if you fail to renew the lease before it hits 0, you'll no longer own the lease, and it'll direct you to this page where you'll have the option to try to acquire a lease or show it in read-only mode. If you try to acquire the lease, it will bring you back to your last saved version of that application, provided that no one else is in the application at that time. And if you choose to go back to your home screen, you'll click Review Application, which will take you to the application dashboard for you to return to that home screen. So remember, save often. Oh, sorry, what
So
was
for
that?
clarity, that would mean that any edits that you had made in that 10 minutes that were not saved would be lost.
So I think to answer your question, I know that if you're pressing next and let's say you press next, that would automatically renew it. I feel free anyone to jump in here. I'm not sure unless you're like maybe working on a page, if you don't press save, I think that specific step might be lost. But Stacy or Timberly, Samira, feel free to jump in if that's incorrect.
I
No,
can
that's-
just mention.
I think that's, yep, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that sounds right. There are a lot of autosave options built into the system, so it'll save quite frequently. So you shouldn't lose too much. But again, it's just a reminder to save often anyway.
Thank you.
And the next slide, please. So also, if you're not in the application working on it for a prolonged period of time, it'll log it as a prolonged period of inactivity, which will cause your session to expire and you'll have to log in again. So remember, save often and never leave your computer unattended. I think this goes to George's question that we just mentioned. Let's say you leave your computer open and you're not working on it. Let's say you're on one step, but you haven't pressed save. If you have a period of inactivity, it might lose that progress. So that's why it's really important to save often and not to leave your computer unattended for privacy concerns. And the last part is the topic of saving. There's multiple functions that will automatically save your work. So when you click next and move on to the next section, or if you click previous to return to completed sections, or even if you're simply returning to application dashboard, that will automatically save your progress from where you left off. So that's a safeguard in place. The best that we can do to automatically save without making someone click save every single time they move to a next step. But as always, try to click save as often as you can. And with that, I will open it to any questions that anyone has. I know that was a lot of information on different errors and functions of the interface. Okay, well, hearing none, I will pass it over to Timberly to talk about other unique functions. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat.
Thanks, Jasmine. So like Jasmine said, I'm just going to walk you through some more unique features of AppStream so you can just become familiar with it and how to interact with it. So for example, on the next slide, you'll see that at the beginning of every step, it'll ask you, is this entire step left blank? And you'll notice below that all the subsequent questions are kind of grayed out. So you won't be able to interact with those questions until you answer that first question. Now on the next slide, you'll see that if you select no, then if you select no, that section is not blank, then it'll allow you to answer the next question. And in this case, the next question is very similar. It's asking, is the entire part A left blank? And again, on the next slide, you'll see that if you select no, the following questions will open up and you'll be able to interact with them. But if you select yes, as is shown on the right-hand side, those questions will remain grayed out. So to kind of make a long story short and summarize that, if you say that a section is blank, you won't be able to fill that section out because it's purportedly blank. But if you say that it's not blank, then you'll be able to fill it out and say what's written in that section. Any questions on that? If there aren't any questions, we can move on to the next slide. Another unique feature of AppStream is that on the right-hand side of every field, there are character limits. And as you type, you'll see how many characters you have left. And if you exceed the character limit, you will get an error pop up and you'll have to rectify that. But moving on to the next slide, another very important feature of AppStream is that at the end of every step, there are input/reviewer notes. This is where you'll put any miscellaneous things that you couldn't capture in the form. So for example, if on the paper application, an applicant wrote something in the margins, you would note that here in this reviewer notes section. Or for example, if the applicant wrote multiple addresses, but you only have the space to enter one address in the form, then you could note the additional addresses here in the input reviewer notes. And again, that's at the end of every step. So another feature, for some questions, the options that you get will change depending on your input. So for this example, it's asking how many FSA farm numbers will you provide? And if you select 4, then 4 boxes will pop up for you to enter those numbers. If you were to select 2, then 2 boxes would pop up, or if you selected 9 boxes would pop up, and so on and so forth. So looking at the next slide, another feature of AppStream is that you can select multiple boxes, even if the question is asking you to only select one. This is because applicants may sometimes accidentally choose multiple boxes. And as we stated in the beginning, it's very important to capture exactly what the applicant wrote. So there's one last thing I'll show you. Sometimes there are long texts as responses. And if you are in that situation, a scroll bar will automatically pop up on the right-hand side of that text field, so you can scroll up and down. Another option on the next slide, if you have long text, you'll see at the bottom right corner of the text field are 3 small diagonal lines. If you click and drag on that, it'll open up the box more so you can reveal all of the text as well. And that is all. I will pass it to Samira to talk about available resources.
Thank you, Timberly. And does anyone have any questions on those before we move on? Now, okay. So the first resource that Matt mentioned earlier as well is the data entry guide. The data entry guide is a document that describes how to enter applicant information into the e-file system. It gives concise and clear instructions that are easy to understand. There's a link provided, and it will be available on Box. And if you would like practice entering a mock application with the data entry guide, there is one in the appendix. And then additional resources that we have are your colleagues. We encourage you to use your colleagues as resources and ask questions you have to those around you, as well as your supervisors. There's also a Slack channel where you can ask questions in a virtual setting, and the link is provided there. And then we also have acronyms and definitions explained here, and these are commonly used acronyms if you're uncertain about certain terms. So this slide is provided. And that is all for additional resources. Does anyone have any questions? Stacy, Timberly, Jasmine, do y'all have anything to add?
I would just say, do you want to just go quickly to the mock application? Just show a couple slides to show what folks can look at if they want a little practice or want a reference. I think those are really helpful.
Sure, those are located here.
And I could talk a little bit about that. That's located at the end of the slide, which we will send out to you guys. It just kind of highlights some issues that you might encounter when looking at an application and how to handle those issues. So for example, as Samir is walking through it, you'll see in this example, the applicant only wrote the letter J for their middle name. And even though we probably know their middle name because they've written it elsewhere, we're gonna just write J because that's what they wrote. So again, just reiterating, it's very important to capture exactly what the applicant wrote. So I don't think we're gonna walk through everything, but just wanted to let you know that resource is available.
And yeah, just gonna say the team made a fake application and went through every box and wrote out in red how to enter it into the system. So it's a really helpful resource, as well as the data entry guide. Are there any questions? Matt, anything else you wanted to add?
So the paper application portal is not, I don't know if it's officially been released yet for your consumption yet. So what you should have received at least is, I think half of you have already got an AppStream login, but if you have not, I think that's something you can do today is respond to the invitation to create an AppStream account, and you can follow the slides that we walked through at the very beginning to set that up. So as soon as it's released Monday or Tuesday next week, you'll be able to get in there and start doing it. The other reminder I would say is that in preparation for that, if you've got hard copy applications or supporting documentation that hasn't been cataloged with a barcode, I would say that that would be a good activity for today in preparation of data entry, is to go ahead and catalog and barcode all of the documents that we have in hand. That's one of the things that the USDA wants to know and make sure that is happening, is that we've at least gotten all and secured all applications that we've received as hard copies, and that those are in the appropriate file cabinet and ready for data entry as soon as it's live.
Great reminders. Thank you, Matt. All right. If there are no questions, I think we can go ahead and wrap up. I wanted to thank everyone for joining. I saw a couple chats that I think were responded to, so thank you for your questions. We will share this slide deck and the recording with you afterwards. We'll also post it on Box where it can be used as a reference.
And also the data entry guide as well. We'll link
Yeah.
to that.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you so much,
All
everyone.
right. Thank you
Thank
all.
you, thank
Appreciate
you,
your
thank you.
time.
I think the
Thank
training was
you.
very
Bye.
Thank you for
informative.
joining.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.